He walked out without a word, and I let him. The night had begun like any other, quiet, ordinary on the surface. I stood in the kitchen, stirring a pot of stew, the scent of garlic and thyme drifting through the air. The television mumbled in the background, half-forgotten news blending with the soft clink of metal against the pan. Across the room, Adam lounged on the couch, scrolling through his phone, chuckling now and then at some passing headline or joke. To anyone watching, it would have looked calm, routine, maybe even peaceful. But underneath, something in me had been coming undone. Not tonight, not just last week, but for months, maybe longer. I had replayed this moment endlessly, whispering the words to myself while folding laundry, while lying awake in the dark, while watching him sip coffee without meeting my eyes. I crafted the speech over and over, hoping it would come out strong and whole. But when it finally arrived, it slipped from me plain and unpolished. Adam broke into my thoughts. "Hey," he said lightly, not lifting his gaze. "Want to watch a movie after dinner?" Harmless words, everyday words. I switched off the stove, the low hiss disappearing, drying my hands on a towel. I crossed the room and sat near the edge of the couch, close, but not touching. My pulse hammered, yet my voice was calm, almost too calm. "You haven't asked me how I feel in over a year." The A shifted. Silence dropped heavy, thick. Only the TV hummed softly in the corner. Adam blinked, startled, as though I'd spoken a riddle. Then he gave a faint, uneasy smile, like I was exaggerating. But I held his eyes, steady, unflinching. His smile faded. He set the phone aside, leaned forward, searching for an explanation. But I offered none. I didn't need to. That single sentence carried the weight of 100 nights crying quietly beside him, of all the times I reached out and found nothing, of how invisible I had become in my own home. I had once loved him completely, fiercely, but that fire had gone out, not from anger or betrayal, but from neglect. He never cheated. He never yelled. He simply stopped seeing me. "Why didn't you tell me sooner?" he asked. His voice stripped bare, confused, almost afraid. "I did," I said softly, "just not in ways you ever cared to hear." I stood and walked back toward the kitchen. No storm, no slammed doors, no raised voices, only a stillness so deep it felt louder than any argument. Behind me, the couch creaked. He rose. I waited for him to speak, to stop me. Instead, he reached for his car keys on the hook. Without looking back, he walked out. The door clicked shut, quiet but final. I waited. Minutes stretched into hours, into the long dark night. He didn't return. The next evening, I sat at the table, alone, stew untouched, the surface cold. The house felt wider, emptier, and yet I wasn't afraid. There was a strange comfort in the silence, hollow though it was, mine, alone. Days passed. No messages, no calls, no questions, just absence. And that was what hurt most. Not that he left, but that he didn't fight to stay, that he didn't ask what I needed, even when the chance was already gone. Not every ending is a storm. Sometimes love slips away slowly, so quietly that by the time you notice, all that's left is an echo. He didn't shout. He didn't cry. He didn't slam the door. He just walked out, and I let him.